Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Midlife Unfiltered. I'm Donna. This is my co-host, Nick.
Welcome, everybody. How are y'all doing today? Well, today we have the amazing honor of sitting down with Lorie. She is a metabolic health and midlife wellness educator who helps women understand how stress, sleep, hormones, and daily habits affect metabolism as we age. Well, I need this podcast because I have hit that phase in my life. Welcome,
Yeah.
Lorie. How are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you ladies doing?
We're doing
We are
great. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me on. You may be sorry, just saying.
No.
We have yet to be sorry of anybody that we've had some, honestly, out of all the podcasts I think that we've done, I don't think we've had one that we have not liked.
What you don't want is boring, and I'm not boring, so that's good.
Perfect.
The one that we had yesterday was flat out entertaining. It was the best. She was a hoot and a half. Let me tell you that much. So why don't you tell everybody who you are, how you got into the field that you're in, and let's have some fun.
Well, I could take a whole hour on that, so you're going to have to butt in and redirect me, please.
Okay.
Okay.
I am a metabolic life specialist. So basically my focus now is about helping women deal with 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, all these fun things when the body is changing. It's not doing what it's supposed to do. It's not doing anything predictable anymore. And it's like nothing is working. And you feel stiff and tight and your metabolism is crawling along instead of the furnace burning.
Yep.
It's not fun, let's
No,
face it. But
not
here's
fun
what
at
I
all.
know. You cannot fight the process. It's called normal aging. You have to understand what's going on and you have to change your ways. And I didn't always change my ways. I did chronic injury and I'm still in the middle of it.
Okay.
Don't do that to yourself.
Okay. So you fought it a little bit.
Yeah, I'm very habitual, and once I get in my groove, man, I want to stay in my groove. Get me
Don't we
out of the
all, though,
groove.
sometimes?
Yeah, it's hard. And it is with a lot of women, and almost all the clients who come to me are totally puzzled as to why they keep gaining weight is usually the trigger. They just don't understand it. They're not doing anything different and they can't exercise it off anymore. And a lot of times they go to, lower calorie diets, trying to starve themselves, which is not the way to do it. So that's what I do now. Before that, I was a corporate litigator for 23 years. And
Wow.
it took me 10 years to make this little transition.
That's not bad, actually. I mean, because you're literally going from two different fields. So, I mean, you have to, you had to do a lot of research and studying and learning because you went from litigation to health.
And there was a lot of identity crisis going on because I was Lorie the lawyer. I was.
Okay.
And when I gave her up, I had no idea who I was. No idea. And ladies, my worry was I had a certain skill set and it just happened to jive perfectly with being a good lawyer. And if I got out of it, I probably just inept at everything else. This was my fear.
Right.
And I'm never going to figure out anything else I can do well at all. And I'm going to go, what the hell was I thinking? But I was done. I was just kind of feeling like not excited about what I was spending most of my time on it anymore. And I thought, there are no do-overs in life, Lorie. Better get your butt moving and try to figure out something else. So I took that stage as if the door's open a little, you go in. If the door is smack closed in your face, you don't beat your head against the wall the way I did to make partner. Then it was necessary. I had a goal and damn, I was going to get there and I did. It was not easy.
No, it's
But
not.
I was tired of kicking because my head kind of hurt,
Yeah.
So I just went for open doors and I went in various directions and I went through an absolutely wonderful period of self-discovery and found out there's a lot underneath and she's actually a little bit nicer than I thought she was, It's like kind of scary, this woman.
Good for you. That's wonderful.
No, change is very scary. My husband worked in the corporate world for many, 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 many years. And he always kept saying, one day I want to start my own business. But I was noticing, like you, he was just not his normal self anymore. He wasn't happy anymore. Like it was just a routine. And I said to him one day, I was like, you wanted to start a business. Why not do it now? And he was like, okay. So he told his employees, that he was going to do that. And he waited for every last one of them to get a job. And then he left because he knew that if he left, the contract would get pulled and they would be, without a job.
Yeah.
And it's been, when did he do this? 2017. And he's so happy. He's so happy.
That's brave and good for you, Nick, for giving him the incentive he needed to finally do it. Because there's so many people who have dreams of starting their own business and all. It's a bunch of talk. It's like writing books. Everybody's got a book in them, but hardly anyone gets it to print,
Yeah, it's
sometimes
scary.
we just need permission too.
Yeah,
You gave him permission, Nick. So good for you.
That's what he tells people. He said that I gave him that push, and obviously it wasn't something we did overnight. It was, a conversation because, you have to, that's a big,
ongoing for what felt to you like decades, probably. Would you shut up and do something, please?
Yeah. And he's honestly, I always tell people the day that he quit and started his own job, I got my husband back. That's what I tell people.
Wow. That's cool. I understand exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
The other part of why I left law actually had to do with my second and current, thankfully I stopped at 2, that was enough, husband, because it occurred to me that I was unable to invest any emotional energy or time in developing a relationship, which seemed like it had a hell of a lot of potential.
Right.
Yeah.
And something I'd care about a lot more on my deathbed than billing, 1/10 of an hour more for the law firm.
Right.
And I just realized that I could not come home and go, okay, role model change, Lorie. Now you go into loving wife. No, I just couldn't do it.
Good for you.
And the answer was, he's screaming at me saying, I am not your secretary. So I thought, I guess I'm not doing well at this little switch here. I don't have the switch because I'm like a totally focused A+ type person. So even when I wasn't physically in the office, my brain was there and I was worrying and I just couldn't devote the time and energy. And I thought, you got to make a choice of what matters more in life. And you'll find something else to do. I don't know what it's going to be, but when I retired, I had absolutely no plan. I had spent all my energy and I gave them 6 months notice, which is a lot.
Yeah.
Just trying to prepare things properly, transition my clients and all that. I didn't have any headspace to even think about what I'd do next. I remember I sent my parting email with something about, I have no idea what I'm doing next, but I will not be home baking cookies. And I don't know if you ladies remember, but at the time, Hillary Clinton made some remark about that when things were blowing up on her husband,
Right.
So I stole it from her, but it was appropriate, and I did not make cookies.
There we go. Yeah. Well, cookies aren't good for our metabolism.
That's right.
At least not mine.
Yeah, me either. So it was good that you were able to recognize the fact that you needed to stop, right?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, like you say, you have that personality of just constant thinking. And, it's hard to say, you know what, it's time to switch.
Yeah. But, you have to know yourself and you have to be honest with yourself and not say I can do both of these well, because I just can't. That's not me.
Right.
The career I have now, I find a way to make it as stressful as possible, of course. Self-imposed stress is real, but it does not feel the same at all. It's much different. And actually, this was a huge surprise. Nick, you related your experience with your husband.
Yeah.
My husband was bugging me as soon as we got married about how much more money you need to make in law, how much more money you need to make, how much more money. I'm like, shut up. When I finally decided, and it was a cumulative kind of thing, as you say, about your husband and the conversations, it doesn't happen overnight.
Right.
You just get to the kind of tipping point, and after, I make a decision like that, there ain't no going back. I have decided, it's a firm decision. If I'm still equivocal, I don't open my big mouth about it. So when I finally decided and announced it to my husband, he was absolutely thrilled. He was not the least bit concerned about the loss of income, and I was like totally shocked. He said, I am so impressed that you have confidence in me.
Oh, wow.
And here was the big head case for me. I was brought up by a mother who told me, first of all, you never want to get married. Second of all, you never want to have kids. She was a little messed up, by the way. She had 5 kids. I didn't follow either advice, but I was very much, I want to have my own money because you never know. I grew up in the feminism genre and everything, and I really bought into it, and I did not want to be dependent on a man.
Right.
And so doing that really was a huge vote of confidence in my husband because I never, ever, ever thought I would let a guy support me, even for 10 seconds.
Right.
That scared the hell out of me, but I still did it because I thought it would have a richer life, but it took some gumption. It was very scary. I tell people now, you want to change careers, first thing, you hire a shrink. You will need one. I should have.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a scary. I mean, there we go. Then, the stress boosts our, destroys our metabolism. So let's talk about metabolism.
You already know this.
Why does, let's talk a little bit about your metabolism and how you help people. And, they can be very, as you said, it can be very scary.
This is what people don't understand. Your metabolism and how your body uses energy. Yes, it has to do with what you eat and how many calories and whether you move your body. And so people, when they're trying to get in shape, focus on their health, lose weight, they focus only on their eating and their exercise. They're missing several other components, which are huge because you have to understand the body and the brain are talking to each other constantly. It's not like the body is separate. There's all kinds of communication going on all the time. And so you have to understand that stress plays a huge role in your metabolism.
Sure.
And so does lack of sleep, which people don't associate at all with weight gain, but very much related. And also social support. And a lot of professionals like me have sort of lost touch with a lot of people because we're too damn busy to pay attention to keeping up our friendships, and I'll meet someone who says she's still in touch with her second grade friend, and I'm like, damn, I ain't.
That's me.
Look at you. See, I just kind of let most of that stuff go by the wayside because I didn't have time. And actually, right now, one of the things I find myself doing is trying to build a social network at age 70 because I don't have any kids. My family is not super close. We live all over the place and we've never been very close.
Right.
And, it's something that is very important in life. And I'm reaching out because, I don't hide things. If I need something, I'm going to go ask for it. Unlike my husband, who's going to tell me 2 weeks later what his problem was. After saying nothing, then it leaked out. I guess you weren't ready to talk about it, huh? Yeah. So that's what people don't understand. Your metabolism is kind of like your whole life, your lifestyle. It's not just, if I eat fewer calories, I'll lose weight. It does not work that way anymore. And I know from experience, when I was 20 or 30, I was a runner. And if I gained a couple of pounds eating crap, which I did routinely, I could just tack on a little more on the run.
Right.
And within 2 days, that'd be gone. Today, no way, no how. It is not moving.
Right.
It's very happy to add some more pounds. It's very reluctant to lose them. Very reluctant. And so you just have to understand that you're living in a different body. And, the other thing that I've really done poorly on is changing up my exercise routine because I was a macho weightlifter. I came to that because I was trained by two-time Mr. Universe, a huge guy from Barbados who I met at the health club, and he taught me how to lift.
Wow.
I have a body that's very happy to acquire muscle, and I tend to be lean, and you can really see it. And before I know it, I'm looking kind of like Serena Williams going, am I over muscled? I don't know. But I got kind of attached to that look, and that became part of my headspace too. This is who I am.
Yeah.
And so my mentality has always been, you work through the pain. If you can lift 25 pounds, you damn better, try that 30-pound dumbbell, see if that works.
Right.
So I developed a bunch of chronic injuries doing the same dumb thing. I would get injured, I'd back off, I'd go right back, and then I get injured again. And at a certain point, my body and my brain went, okay, we're done. Chronic pain. So I'm still trying to work my way out of that. And that's another mistake people make who were, athletic. They just keep thinking they can do the same thing and the body can't tolerate it. So that's what health is all about. It's about your entire life, basically, not just
Mhm.
what you put in your mouth and whether you move.
So they say that your metabolism slows down when you hit perimenopause and menopause and things like that. But I've been like doing research, and a lot of people are very like, you see all these people who give one answer, but then there's a different answer, and you never really know what to believe. Can you give us a little bit of insight on that?
Yep. Your metabolism slows down with a normal aging process. I actually have a gerontology aging studies background too.
Mhm.
That is normal. That happens with normal aging. Does
Sure.
menopause make it worse? A little bit worse, but it's not the biggest deal.
Okay.
And a lot of what happens is when people get older, the reason they gain weight has to do with they get more sedentary without realizing it.
Mm-hmm.
And they try to calorie restrict to make up for the deficit, and it doesn't work. So it slows down, but not that significantly. And the big change with perimenopause and menopause is if you do gain weight, you're going to gain it in your gut. The last place any woman wants to see it. So I get all the women who come in and say, I have never had belly fat. I hate this. So they think doing 1,000 ab crunches is going to get it off,
No.
but it ain't. You're just going to have a very nice six pack, well padded, and no one will ever see it. So menopause is not the key. People tend to get more sedentary, and they eat too much more. They eat more than their body can burn off. That's the reality.
So
And the
they
other
need
thing
to do a
people don't
calorie deficit.
understand is bodies are made to be in constant motion. They really are. That should be the default. But we set the world up for sitting down. How sad is that? And a lot of
Yeah.
people hardly move all day. And the other thing that happens, which is a big contributor, and I should have mentioned this earlier, you have to strength train. A lot of what's happening with a slow metabolism is that your strength is going away as part of normal aging, and it needs to be replaced. You need to do strength training. Without that,
Interesting.
you have a slower metabolism, and the more sedentary behavior, those are the two biggest contributors. It's not menopause at all. But
What's the
people
best
think
kind of
it's
strength training you would recommend?
whatever works for your body. Like I said, I used to heft the weights around, and now it's like TRX straps and stretchy bands and body
Right.
weight squats. I actually go to a boutique gym which provides strength training for over 40 adults.
Okay.
Okay.
I am way over 40, but this has become a thing. These places are popping up because you have to understand you can't train the way you used to train because your
Yeah.
body can't deal with that anymore.
Yep. Yeah.
And you have to
Exactly.
make an adjustment. And a lot of women are afraid of strength training because they think they're going to get super muscular. Don't worry, you don't have the hormones. If you tried, it wouldn't happen. But
I'll
a
take a
lot
few
of women
muscles.
have never done it. So it's alien territory, and their mindset about exercise is cardio, cardio, cardio. And
Right.
that is not the be all and end all. This is equally important, especially to kicking your metabolism up.
Wow. That's interesting. I never knew that actually.
Yeah,
All right.
really, really important.
I'm taking notes here because I've got my treadmill over here that we use all the time that I walk on, and we've got because I've got 4 kids, and so they've always got like their little barbells down here and all that good jazzy stuff that they're constantly using. But my boys, they're 14 and 16, so they're my athletes like you. They run track, so
Yeah.
and then they do strength training at their school as part of a gym class. So
And the other thing I find is a lot of women think just walking is cardio, and it's not.
Right.
mhm.
Got to get your heart rate up. And a lot of older women go to Pilates. I went to Pilates for 6 months, and the people there are just not my vibe. I don't know. They didn't like me. They wouldn't even say hi. I don't know what it was. But what the problem with Pilates as your sole exercise is it's not going to build muscle mass, and it's not a cardiovascular activity, even though it feels hard. I mean, I would be huffing and puffing. I'm looking at my watch and I don't have any increased heart rate. It's like, how is this possible? I'm being robbed.
Right. Right.
And you feel like your muscles are getting stronger, and you can build strength, but you can't build the muscle mass doing that. So that's not the
Yeah.
ultimate answer, but a Pilates is super popular, and a lot of people use it for injury recovery, and it's a great thing. But I just decided I only have so much time to allot to exercise. I'm not getting enough bang for my buck here. But a lot of people, that's their answer. Well, I go to Pilates. Well, that isn't doing it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But strength training is huge.
Go ahead, Nick.
I was saying, you also live in a, I'm not going to say where, but you live in an amazing town where when I was there, a lot of people walk around, they ride their bikes. And when I was there, we literally one day decided to take the bus, and we literally just busted or walked around, and just the amount of people that were walking and exercising, I was like, I'm not used to seeing this.
It really does make a difference. It really does. And the other thing I notice, Donna, when I go back to New York City, I notice there aren't as many overweight people there, and I attribute that to walking. Because people usually walk, because God knows they got terrible food there. If you want it, it is readily available. So
it's everywhere. It's everywhere. But yes, I mean,
it just moves your body more.
They tax you to use your car in New York.
I know. Yep.
So, why wouldn't you walk or use mass trans or whatever?
And a lot of times you can beat the bus just by walking. It's just reality. And who wants to?
We did that.
Subways
we beat the bus.
Scary now.
In California, we beat the bus. We got off the bus, and I looked at the time, and I was like, the bus isn't going to be here for 5 more minutes. And I said to one of my daughters, I was like, the hotel is that way. Let's just start walking. It was a beautiful day. And we literally, we were probably about maybe a minute away from walking wise from the hotel. And then the bus came zooming by, and I'm like, we still beat it.
It feels good, doesn't it?
It does.
It feels like an achievement of sorts.
It does, because even my husband was like, how many steps did you get in? Because he knew that we were walking, and we told him, he's like, because I live in the country. When I mean I live in the country, I have combines, cornfields, and soy fields all around me, horses and cows. So there's really no walking for me, hence the treadmill.
Yeah, but you're active, I'm sure.
She is.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm very active. We made a little... because I have like 3 acres of wood behind me, we made my kids and my husband made a path. So we always will walk like through the woods, up, around. So I think one big giant loop, the way they made it, is about 1.5 miles.
That's good.
Yeah. And we walk it all the time.
Yeah. And this can be helpful in terms of tracking and making you feel rewarded and stuff like that. It definitely works.
Yeah. I have one of those. So I do. I don't have it on right now, but I do have one.
The other thing I really like about it is it tells me to stand every hour, and I can get in my head doing something in my desk.
Yep.
And it says, Lorie, time to stand. I almost always obey it just because, okay, good point,
Yeah. You're like, I haven't.
Just sit there and not notice,
I can't sit very long. My husband's always says to me, why can't you sit? And I'm like,
I know.
I grew up on a farm where we were constantly always doing something. I cannot sit to save my life. Like this podcast might be, and like yesterday's podcast was like 1.5 hours long. And I toward the last 15 minutes, I was like, okay, I can't sit down anymore. Like I cannot sit that long. Sitting on airplanes is even hard for me, but I do it.
I know. I was having this conversation with one of my clients the other day, Nick. I said, I was thinking of going to this conference, and then I thought, I really don't think I'm capable of sitting through lecture after lecture after lecture anymore. I don't think I can do it physically. No. I get antsy. I got to get the hell up.
Yeah.
But we have to feel like we have to move.
Yes, but if you're used to sitting, it feels good to remain seated.
That's
when
my husband.
You get in this mode where you pop up a lot, you want to keep doing that. Because
that's my husband.
Good.
My husband can sit for hours. I can't do that. And don't get me wrong, the podcast today was absolutely hysterical and amazing. That's just me. Like we were just talking, like I literally was like, okay, like you might watch the end of it. You're like, why is she moving? Well, now you know why I was moving is because after so long, I have to stand.
My husband's a mover. We don't sit in our house. I don't know why the hell we have a couch,
Okay.
Gotta have a good couch once in a while to lay on.
Exactly. Right.
I want to ask you a question, and you might not have an answer, but
I can make one up, Donna. Don't worry. We're good.
Do you have any supplements that you recommend?
No.
Okay.
The studies on a multivitamin are in total conflict, and my MO is always, if you eat a good diet, you should not need to be supplementing. But I do tell people, look, if you go to your physician, and I mean a legitimate one, not one who wants to put you on 15 supplements, which a lot of the holistic ones do, unfortunately.
Right.
And, they tell you your vitamin B12 or your iron or your vitamin D is low. Okay. Do what you can with food, but take a supplement, but only because there's a need, not just because or
Because.
insurance or because I want to eat lousy food, but I can make it up through the supplements. And here's something really important about supplements that a lot of people don't understand.
Okay.
It is the Wild West with supplements. They are unregulated. FDA does not look at them. You don't know what is in these things. You don't know the dosage. We don't know the interactions. They are a lot less safe than a prescription medication that science has been watching and they can tell you things about. And
Interesting.
when they finally look at a lot of the supplements, what they say is in them is not what's in them. The dosage is wrong. They have other stuff in them. So you just don't really know what you're getting. And yes, there are a couple of agencies that, they can get certified with, which give you a little more assurance. But just because it's over the counter does not equal it's safe. And people
Okay.
think it does somehow.
Even like a multivitamin.
I would go with a reputable brand.
Yeah.
Okay.
And, look, it's not going to kill you, but I don't think it's a good idea to be taking a handful of supplements. And in my snarky New York way, what I tell people they're doing when they come in for their first session and say, I just wanted to show you what I'm taking, and they give me this huge amount of pills, I say, you know what I think you're doing? Here's my analysis. You are creating some very expensive urine. You're going to
True.
pee most of it out. And the ones that are
true.
fat soluble, you run a risk of accumulating too much. But
Wow.
generally, the focus should be you eat real God-made food and you should be able to get all the nutrients you need from that. Now, if you're a vegetarian, you got to be a lot more careful and you may
Mhm.
have B12 deficiencies and stuff like that.
Right.
But a lot of people's attitude about vitamins is just the more the better. Or there are some magic ones that really work. The other thing that we don't totally understand, and I'm skeptical, is does the body really metabolize that nutrient from a pill that you ingested the same way as it does when it extracts it from a food? I
Food.
doubt it. I just doubt it.
That's really good to know, Lorie. I mean, never ever thought of it that way. I take a bunch of vitamins.
A lot of people do. They read one's good, one's good. They just
Yeah.
keep accumulating. And, they're obviously people are pushing them all the time. And,
Yeah.
your girlfriend's taking this one. And the other thing to understand is placebo effect is very powerful. You know how he's talking
Yes.
about your
Yes.
body and brain
Yes.
interacting. I mean, here's how powerful it is. They've done studies where they tell the test group, this is a placebo. It will not do anything. And guess what they report? I felt so much better when I took the sugar pill. So people can take something and say, oh, I have so much more energy. I feel good. And it could just be a head thing because they believed,
Yeah. Yeah.
There was a time that, a couple of years ago, my doctor had put me on ADHD medicine and I took it for the first time. And it literally, I did not feel like a normal person. Like something was
Yeah.
just, I couldn't, and I'm not going against the people that take it because it works for them, but whatever it did to me, it just, I had to stop. I could not, after like 2 weeks, I had to stop. And I went back in and they're like, you're not taking it anymore. And I explained what happened. They're like, well, we can lower your dose. Looks like your dose was too high. And I was just like, and I said to them in the nicest way, I was like, I just don't think it's for me. I was like, I've managed this part of my entire life. I was like, I'll just keep managing. And they were like, they were really respectful. They were like, they're like, that's fine. You're like, if you ever want to, retake it, just come back. We'll we'll go through the process again and get you on a proper dosage. But
I'm with you, Nick. I don't want to put any medicine in my body unless I absolutely need it. And my body generally does not like it. It doesn't work right. And I need to get the hell off it. I would much rather deal with, modify the behavior if I can.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And just
Right.
eating healthier. And you were talking about eating healthy food.
A lot of that matters more than people realize. The sleep part, the stress reduction part, the putting healthy food in your body. I like to tell people, if you eat crap, you are going to feel crappy.
Yes, I've heard that.
And people don't even think about the connection between the quality of the food and how they feel, even energy level. They don't associate it. It's like I got to eat something and fast food is the easiest, cheapest solution. So I shove it in my face. It's the same as anything else.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah,
not.
absolutely.
It's interesting that
I
you said
tell
that
them if
because
it does not have a nutrition label, that's something you should buy.
exactly, exactly.
Exactly.
It's interesting that you said that. My husband is originally from Nigeria, and when we go back to visit him, I always literally I will lose about 10 to 15 pounds, and it's because of all the food. Because we have to literally go to his mom, the village, and so everything that we're eating is literally coming from the ground.
Yep,
Everything, the fruits,
totally
the
different.
vegetables. This is probably going to gross people out, but like my brother-in-law went and grabbed this. I said I wanted to make chicken curry, and he literally went and got 2 chickens from the backyard, came back and plopped them on the counter, and they were warm. It roasted me out, but it's okay.
Yep. It's
But
hard to
no,
be overweight when you're eating that way because that's the way our bodies are designed to eat.
Exactly.
yes, that's one of the things my husband has said. He says the food in this country is he said it's not healthy. It's killing people. Even though we do eat organic, we grow our own food and things like that nature. Every once in a while we'd like to go out and have, it's good to go out and get a little Chick-fil-A or whatever you want to get.
Fun.
Every once in a great blue moon. But
Moderation.
he's even had said, we're talking about it, after my younger son graduates, we're moving back to Africa because he's like, I want to go back for the culture and the food. And yeah, he's ready to be healthy again.
Yeah. Yeah. It's different. But look, you can get healthy food here or relatively healthy. There's a huge continuum here, and most people are just eating crap and they're making
Yeah.
excuses.
Just for
And
ease. For ease.
yes, and they're snacking. And look, I
Yep.
told you I'm 70 years old. In my lifetime, everything has changed in terms of health. When
Sure.
I was little, obesity was not an issue. Type 2 diabetes was not an issue. Nobody needed joint replacements from putting too much weight on their body. It was just entirely different. And
Right.
it was because mothers had to cook at home. Restaurant dining was not a thing. We didn't have drive-throughs, and people walked,
Yeah.
and kids
Yep.
played outside until they got called in 10 times.
Yeah.
And now they're inside on their phone all day. It's just a very different environment. And it's
Yeah.
not that, the collective willpower of the American people has evaporated. It's not that. It's that the atmosphere, the environment that we are living in is so different. So now you have to really be an outlier to care about your health and to make the adjustments, but it is totally doable if you're committed to it and you care. And it makes all the difference as you age because 80% of how you age has to do with your lifestyle choices. That is huge. We have
Yeah.
so much control, and most people don't take the control in their own hands, and they should.
I think because it's what we're used to, and convenience, rushing, stressed, everything on that list.
Everybody's working. There's no stay-at-home mom. All that matters.
Right. And then you just get into that cycle. So what would you recommend someone that is listening to this and it says like, I need to break this cycle? Where do I start? What would be their easiest thing to break to start doing the right things?
Clean up your food environment is the first thing I recommend, which is to say in the house, in the mouth. Look, if potato chips are your weakness, do not go down that aisle. You will find some less junk food to put in your cart. If you don't go there, you're not in the danger zone. Once you brought home that pint of ice cream, you've already admitted you're going to eat it and you're not going to be able to moderate it as much as you tell yourself. But here's what I also tell people. As Nick said, once in a while, you need to be a little bad. You can't deprive yourself of everything.
Exactly.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So once in a while, you go out to your favorite creamery and you have some really delicious high butter fat ice cream in a reasonable amount and you enjoy the hell out of it, but you do not bring it home and you don't have it as a constant temptation in your house. The other thing to really understand is taste buds adapt to what you feed them.
Yes.
So if you keep eating sugar all the time, you're going to keep craving sugar all the time.
Right.
If you wean your way away from it and you realize that sugar naturally occurs in dairy products and especially in things like fruit, that's going to taste sweet enough to you. But if you eat candy bars all the time, you're going to want candy bars. So you can change all of that and it gets easier. And they've done brain imaging studies where they've proved that that's the case. And, what we know now is women, while they're pregnant, are already determining, the taste bud preferences of the baby, which is like scary weird.
Wow.
Really? I did not know that.
What you
Wow.
eat during pregnancy predisposes your kid. How scary is that?
Well, I guess I did good then because
All
I
the
had
chicken
I had
salad I
health food
ate.
addicts.
All the
Yeah.
chicken salad I ate. Now my little one likes chicken nuggets, right?
Uh, well, and here's the other thing. A lot of people, as you said, Donna, they're stressed. They don't have time. So they start taking their kids through the drive-through and then they say, well, he demanded McDonald's. Well, yeah, he wasn't born there. It was because you took him there 50 times
Exactly.
and he would
Exactly.
like it now. But you can eat healthy. The other thing I tell people is you devote only the amount of time that makes sense to you and you want to cooking. I
Mhm.
don't cook very much, but I sure as hell find ways to get healthy food in here. And I'm very practical. I do stuff like this. I don't want to chop my vegetables for 50 minutes and end up in urgent care because I cut my finger.
That's me.
I buy them already chopped up. I'm not going to argue with a head of broccoli. Why? I'm going to buy the florets. So I pay for things like that so
Mhm.
that
Right.
I get a cookie sheet full of chopped up veggies. And I'm going to do it because it's not so time consuming.
Yeah.
Find things that are practical that work. There's, Whole Foods and Sprouts and Trader Joe's
Yep.
have,
Love those stores.
things that are
Love
way
those stores.
better than restaurant prepared. They may not be pristine, but as I said, it's a continuum. And
Yeah.
if
What
that's
great advice.
the alternative, do it. Let me just say something about restaurant dining because what people don't understand is it's very tough to eat healthy in a restaurant. You have to
Yeah, for
start with
sure.
their premise, which is they are in customer satisfaction. They're absolutely not in the health business. You can't blame it on them. What
Mm-hmm.
they're trying to do is give you a meal that tastes really, really good and stuff you so you can't possibly say, I spent $150 on my dinner and then I had to go to McDonald's because I was still hungry.
Right. Right.
So, how do you make everything taste yummy? Butter, salt, sugar, oil.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Everything has a huge amount of fat in it and sugar and salt because that's what makes things taste good and they know that. And then they want you to order an entree and as it turns out an entree is 3 servings, 3.
Yep.
Yes.
So they present you with 3 times what you should be eating, and then you got to fight with yourself. But you
Yes.
can be a demanding diner, and I don't mean necessarily in a nasty New York way, but you can ask for substitutions. I almost never get whatever starch comes with the entree. I say, could I please have vegetables? Because if the risotto is on the plate, I got a losing battle on my hands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I ask for sides of veggies, even if there are no sides. They can make them for you. And the other thing that can be very effective with people, and this is a lot of what I do, Nick and Donna, I just give people practical ways to make it easy for this to happen
Mhm.
because this is all I think about. And other people I realize have a life and they don't sit around all day thinking, or what are some good techniques that would make it easier for me to be healthy? They don't have time for that. So something like this. May I please have my to-go box when you bring the entree? If
Right.
you physically
There you go.
remove it from your sight, you are in a much better position to win this battle. Much
Yeah.
better position. So
Yeah.
anything prepared in a restaurant, even if you get down to a third of the portion, which is the right amount, it's still going to be way more calorically dense and taste yummier than anything you made at home. And there's a
So
Yeah,
for
for
me,
sure.
but I don't tell people never go to a restaurant because look, that's how we socialize in this country now,
yeah.
which is kind of sad, but it's reality. And you got to go in with a plan. And we scrutinize the menu together beforehand. We think about substitutions. I tell people do not go there starving, strategies, techniques. And when you're in a communal type situation with friends or colleagues, there's social pressure to
Mhm.
basically eat everything on the menu. And if you're
Yeah.
not, be like, you're not
Yeah.
drinking tonight. What's wrong with you? And that's
Yeah.
real too.
Yeah.
So,
You
but
go there hungry.
I want people to have normal lives, not be Debbie Downer. I can't eat that. It's my birthday, but I'm not allowed to have birthday cake. I mean, that's ridiculous.
So
That's
have a birthday
ridiculous.
cake.
So it's about find a better balance where you're actually healthy and it's still sustainable, livable, and your
Mhm.
brain isn't totally obsessed with, how many calories are in a strawberry kind of thing.
Right. Right.
Yeah. It's all about portion control. But I was watching a health guy, and I don't remember what his name was because years ago, but he always said when you go into a grocery store, if you want to watch what you eat and you want to be healthy, he goes, only shop the outside of the grocery
Perimeter.
store. He goes, the inside is the
where
poison.
the bad shit lives.
Yeah.
He called it
We
poison.
just talked about this. Didn't we just talk about this recently?
Yeah,
I feel
yeah,
like
yeah,
we did.
yeah.
Yeah,
Only shop the
that's a
outside.
very normal thing to say. And the other thing I remember, again, because Lorie is old, when I was little, we didn't have 8 aisles of junk food. We just
No.
didn't. They
No,
did not exist. Yeah, we had chips, but it was like 2 kinds of Lay's, not 8 kinds. We didn't have seasonal kinds.
No.
We didn't
No.
have,
even
you know,
cereals,
we didn't
and
Yeah.
have all this
Cookies.
stuff.
when my
What's
niece,
happening at grocery stores is just ridiculous, and
Right.
that's part of the problem. This is the problem with the buffet kind of thing. What helps the
Yeah.
human brain is we like
Mm.
variety. If there are 18 things, we would like to try each one because of the
yeah,
novel taste.
yeah. So
But you
it's
can use that in your favor because here's another tip I give people. It's called the 3 bites rule. This is to help people who like sweets and like desserts. What I
Okay.
tell them, and there's research behind me, I didn't totally make this up. The first 3 bites are by far the most satisfying part of any dessert. So if you can
Okay.
only put 3 bites on your plate, you're going to feel good afterwards. You're not going to have a struggle. Or if you can stop at 3 bites, you're going to be happier because that's when you get the fresh taste of it on your taste buds. And then you're just eating it because it's there and you're kind of on a roll.
That's such a
But
great way to think about it.
you
it's
can
so
get the taste of it and the satisfaction without being pissed off at yourself later because you ate this humongous piece of chocolate cake that they gave you when you said, "Could I please have a sliver?"
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
for
so interesting
sure.
that you said that because the other day was on the 9th was two of my kids' birthday and they got a strawberry shortcake for their birthday. Well, the day on the 9th, I just was not in the mood. I'm like, maybe later you have whatever. So the next day there was a little bit left in the fridge and I literally probably had 2 or 3 bites. I was like, okay, yummy. They weren't big ones. They're really small. And then I went for that fourth one and I took the bite and I was like, oh no,
Yeah, what
put
am
it
I
down.
doing? I'm like, yeah, do I need this?
It just
Yeah,
didn't taste. Yeah, it didn't taste. I don't know. After that, I was like, oh, okay, I think I got my satisfaction because I'm not really
uh-huh.
a big, like Donna will tell you, I'm not really into cakes or sweets or things like that. I mean, every once in a great M&Ms are my downfall. Peanut M&Ms. She knows they're my downfall. Don't come at me for that. That is my one snack that if I'm going to have it, that's going to be it. But I
Hey,
just,
Nick, I tell people be a little bad, so you're fine.
Yeah.
yeah, that's literally the only thing I'll eat is peanut M. And even that I have like portion control. But yeah, no, I had like 3 bites and I went for the fourth one. I was like, yep, nope. Put them like, y'all can have this. I'm
Had
done.
enough.
It's
Yeah.
really true. It's just that it's part of it is finish everything on your plate mentality and all
Yep.
that. The other thing I do is I like ice cream and so does my husband and he always wants to go get it, but I don't want to eat all that ice cream. So, do you want one, honey? No, that's okay. I know damn well I'm getting a bite, but I know I can't be a pig because it's his ice cream, so I'm only
Right. Right.
Yeah.
well, I am in perfect heaven here. I get my little taste, but I'm not tempted by the rest of it.
Mhm.
Right. Right. I
My
love
kids
ice
get their
cream.
ice
Oh my
cream from
gosh.
Sprouts. We go to Sprouts and they get the organic, healthy ice cream there. But we did fall in love with and I'm not going to say where you live, but we did fall in love with your Whole Foods in your town. We found it. We don't have one near where I live. So going
Yeah,
there was,
right.
I like the most, but we literally went there every single day. We're like, why do we need to eat in a restaurant? We literally, I'm not even kidding you. We took Uber.
We use them a lot for our dinners, a lot.
Yes,
Yeah.
because you
They're
guys have
great. They one up the street from me.
you had that little
Great.
cafe in there. We did. We went and we got food. Like the first night we were there, we went and got food, got paper plates, napkins, cutlery, and came back to a hotel room and just ate. We're like, why do we need to, let's eat healthy?
This is what my husband and I have started doing on vacation. We book
Mhm.
a hotel room, we look for
Mhm.
Whole Foods, we get takeout, we eat in a room.
Yes,
There
that's
you go.
literally what we did. That's literally did. We hit up your little hot food bowl area. You know the one I'm talking about. We hit that whole
Yep.
area. We got everything. We're like, let's go.
Yeah. It's
It's
a good
so
money
much
saver to also.
healthier, it's so much cheaper, and
Yes.
you don't have to wait and all that. And
Yeah.
it's a healthier food. Or we rent a condo where there's a kitchen and we can cook.
Yeah, we
That's
do that
what we do
too.
on vacation, and then we don't come back with 5 extra pounds. But a lot of people's idea of vacation is eat their way through the town.
No.
The first thing you see on Facebook is I'm going to Fiji. Where should I eat? What's to die for over there? And I'm like, I don't die for food.
No, I don't either. So I have a question for you because metabolism and sleep. You talked about how we need
Yes.
a lot of sleep. I probably get about maybe 6 hours of sleep a night.
Well, my question is always, the sweet spot for a lot of people is about 7. But the
Okay.
question really is, do you wake up feeling rested? If you do, then that's enough. If you're not feeling rested, it's not enough. Bodies are different. Sounds a
Yeah.
little skimpy on first blush.
No, I mean, yeah, normally I do. The other day, for no reason, I was exhausted the whole day, but I went to bed early. I just went to bed early and then I woke up refreshed. So, but majority of the time I wake up, I'm a morning person. So I'm like 6:30,
My,
I'm like, let's go. But I have
you
to be in
know what
bed by
time
10.
here's my sleep schedule. It's really weird. I don't recommend this to anyone else. Luckily, my husband is equally crazy. We go to bed at 9 a.m. We get up at 4 a.m. every single day.
Wow.
9 p.m., 9 p.m. Okay.
To work out in the morning before the world wakes up. I feel so good. I
Yeah.
beat everybody. Nobody's lights are even on in their house. I'm so excited. You gotta get your dollars where you take them, you know?
If I lived where you lived, I probably would get up that early and walk the city, walk the streets. But I mean,
Yeah, and
obviously here
we
I
have
have,
wonderful weather here. You know,
you
you gotta
do.
take
Yeah.
advantage
Yeah.
of it. But that's my most energetic time. I used to do, dinner time, meeting presentations. I do a lot of public speaking. And
Hmm.
now when they call me I say, I'm sorry, I'm brain dead. I can't do it. I'm brain dead by that time. I'm like winding down to go to bed. It's not going to work.
Right.
That's
Oh
funny.
my
No.
God. This has been great, Lorie. I'm telling
Well,
you.
thank you. I hope you learned something without me being, like, this is the way.
No,
No,
you did
not at
because
all.
we probably about a couple of years ago in our house, we went through our pantry and we just started literally just throwing
Makes a
everything
huge
that was
amount of difference.
processed away. My
Yep.
husband was watching because we don't have TV, so he watches YouTube videos and he was just like, you guys come and sit down and watch this. And we sat down and we watched everything. We're just like, okay, this is good. That's not good. This is good. And we literally just went through and now we just shop at Sprouts. I mean, we do BJ's and Costco and whatnot for the bigger
Yeah.
things, but even that we do our best to get organic. I have a beautiful garden out there. I can apples. And I mean, this year
That's pretty
on the
cool.
East Coast, we had a terrible freeze. And so a lot of our fruits and vegetables
Yeah.
unfortunately did not survive. So we're not going to have a good crop for freezing and canning this year, but I can peppers, okra, tomato
Yep.
sauce. I do applesauce.
Fruits
I
and
do,
vegetables need to be your best friends.
yes,
That's the
I
way
do
to
Exactly.
be healthy.
sourdough.
Half of the
I make
food plate
sourdough
is
bread. We don't buy bread in the store anymore. I make homemade bread. So my kids love it. So Donna was at my house a few weeks ago and I gave her a bunch of sourdough bread to take home. Now she wants me to make her more.
More. More.
Yeah, really good. Yeah, I know. I know.
Yeah. So no, really, we did. We just went through it. We threw everything away. It was just like, we have to start eating healthy. But like we said,
Yeah,
though,
and
it's
it's a
good to have
lot
a little
easier
treat.
if you only have healthy food in there. And
Yeah.
you can grow your own. Most of us don't, but
Yeah.
it is worth spending money to get healthy food. It
Hmm.
is worth it. That is not your place to save money. That's
Yeah.
silly.
Right. Right.
I have one question for you, and I know this is going to be very controversial, and I know it's
I
good for
like
people.
controversy.
Okay, good. So, what are your thoughts on people taking GLP-1?
I knew that was the question before it sprung from your mouth. I was surprised nobody had asked me yet.
It was there. I
Okay,
mean, I
here's
know it's good. Go ahead.
my attitude is this. The injectables work well for most people. It is the
Hmm.
first time we've had a drug that actually is effective because it goes to the hunger hormones.
Right.
Okay.
The way they work is you get full faster and your
Hmm.
stomach empties slower.
Okay.
So it is an easy way to lose weight. However, and I do think it has a place in our society, and there are
Okay.
many people who can benefit from it. It doesn't work for everyone. A lot of people plateau. People have very different reactions in terms of side effects and severity and all that. Rapidity of weight loss. Sometimes one injectable will work and another one won't. I see it as useful for people who've been overweight for a long time and their metabolism just needs a wake up call.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
And they need some incentive that they're on the path, that kind of thing. It can also be useful, I think, for people who have been working really hard at their weight loss. Maybe it's 6 months, maybe it's a year, and it kind of stalled and they're getting depressed. Sort of a jump start. I
Hmm.
don't think it's a great idea to be on these drugs forever, but I do see that, physicians are now thinking, what's the difference? It's just like your high blood pressure medication. We just put you on a maintenance dose and you're good for life. Here's what I think about it. It does not allow for a normal life. I mean, we're talking about restaurant dining. If you're on the injectable, you go into a restaurant, you're ordering an entree, and you know what? You eat 2 bites and you're full. That's
Right.
not fun. Some people develop an absolute aversion to food. Eating
Mhm.
is one of the most enjoyable parts of life. I
Mm-hmm.
know that unfortunately too well because I had, as COVID, the only symptom I had was no taste, no smell. I could not believe what a miserable individual I was
It was
Right.
because
miserable.
I could not taste my food. And I realized one of my highlights of the day is eating dinner with my husband. And now you could have blindfolded me. I had no idea what I was eating, but my gut was telling me I was hungry. But
Yeah.
a big loss in my life. So if that's where you end up with these things, I don't think it's a great idea. And right now it's like the miracle drug and these companies are making billions, if not
Yeah.
trillions with a T. And they're just, fighting with each other to come up with the next iteration. And then they're going to have a drug for the side effects caused by this drug. And oh my God. And it's like, can't we just learn how to eat like normal human beings? Do we need a trick medication for everything?
Like you said, though, when people do go on it and, that have been overweight for years or whatever,
Yes.
I think that being on it trains your mind and your stomach.
Well,
When So if
yes,
you
you're
do go, when it's
correct,
time to
Donna.
go off, or you feel you can go off, I think you've trained yourself of what I'm eating differently and how I'm thinking
Yes.
differently.
That's what I hope, and that's what I think is its use. But here's what's so important. While you're on these medications, you need to be super diligent about healthy eating habits and develop them then. And understand, Donna, not everyone does that. Some people use it as an excuse to live on
Sure.
junk food and just eat all their calories that way. What doctors are not telling these people anything about changing their health habits. They're just
Exactly.
giving them the drug. They need somebody like me, and the doctors are not telling them that. The other thing that's super important is you keep up your protein, you keep up your water and your vegetables so you don't
Yep.
get constipated and nauseous.
Yep.
And the other really important thing, because you're losing muscle mass, sometimes to the tune of 40% of your weight loss,
Wow.
you need to do strength training with these drugs. You need
Okay.
to, and they're not getting the
Mm-hmm.
message. But if it's a way, and this is what I hope for all my clients, to learn how to adapt healthy eating habits and see that you don't need to be eating huge quantities or whatever your issue was, it can really be a very valuable kind of training tool. And I do think it has a purpose and it is not going away. There is
Yep.
no doubt. It's here to stay because there is too much money involved. Whenever there's
Sure.
money, shit's happening. They will find a way. They will find another means. They will attract more people. I've read that 1 out of 8 Americans are on them now.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
It's
so they
good.
have,
It's a good way to train your brain.
it is. If you
Yeah.
use it properly, it's a wonderful tool. It is a
Yeah.
gift. And I've had clients who tell me the food noise has finally stopped.
Aw.
I have never had food noise because I don't know what it's like, but they're telling
Yeah.
me this is the way you other people get to live. God damn, is that easy?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
I
It's
have a
horrible.
woman who's
It's
on
horrible.
PCOS, polycystic
Mm-hmm.
ovarian system, which they just renamed. And there's good research showing that for those people, it really, really changes a lot about their body and their life and their pain and everything else. And
Mhm.
I have a client who couldn't lose the last amount of weight with healthy lifestyle, no matter what she tried. They put her on the injectable and she lost it and she's on a maintenance dosage and it's abated all her other symptoms and she has an entirely new life. So
I
there
love
Yeah.
are
that for
Yeah.
her. I
some
love
That's
that for her.
wonderful.
symptoms that we actually are finding it works well for.
Yeah.
Wow.
I
I
agree
love
with
that for
you,
her.
Donna. The right approach to it is use it as a way to train your brain and get your exercise in doing the right behavior. Get it
Exactly.
under your belt while it's a little bit easier. And look, nobody wants to regain the weight, but I have a lot of
No.
clients who are on it and I don't have a problem with that. I have people who come to me when they get off it because they're petrified they're going to gain it back,
Yeah.
all these kinds of things.
Yeah,
But
of
a lot
course.
of people are trying it, and you can't
Yeah.
blame them.
No,
Yeah.
and
No.
we can't judge people that are on it. Everybody's body's different
Yeah.
and everybody does different things.
That's why I said controversial, because I know some people don't think it's good and some do.
Yeah,
I'm all about, if it's helping you, go for it. You know,
exactly.
it's
And
not,
a
it's
lot
not
of people
illegal.
are, a lot
Yeah.
of people are ashamed to admit they're on it, and everybody knows, but it's nobody's business.
No, it's not. So one last question before you go. If somebody's wanting to change the way that they're eating, they want to, boost up their metabolism, lose a little bit of weight, et cetera, but that change of food can be very scary. What a piece of advice would you give them?
Baby steps. Go very slowly, because habits got established because they are working.
Right.
So you need to
Yeah.
slowly change them. If you're snacking every night after dinner, I don't say, okay, no more snacking for the rest of your life. This week, we're going to start this week. You're not going to have any snacking. I say, I get a good picture of what the snacking looks like. See if we can figure out something else is triggering it, like boredom or, association with what they taught us in the movie theaters. You're watching something, you got to be eating something, or
Right.
your damn husband scarfing down crap food and offering it to
Mhm.
you all the time. If we can change some of that, and maybe, you try something a little bit differently. Maybe you have some fruit and a little less of your crappy shit. Maybe you try to limit it to the weekend, and it's a very individual approach, but it needs to be slow. And you need to understand that you're going to fail some days, and that's okay. And what I tell people about those days is, think about it. If you can learn something, good. And if you can't, amnesia. Just start over. You cannot
There we
undo
go.
it, but what I don't want you to do
Yeah.
is beat yourself up and make it worse. You got
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
rest
Such
of your
great
life
advice. It's
healthy,
true.
one day at a time. So it's
Yeah. And
about
we
growing
kind
up.
of forget that. Like once you fall off the wagon, you feel like I ate an ice cream, so now forget it. I'm going to eat ice cream the
Yeah,
rest of the
next
week. Yeah.
Monday, next January
Yeah.
1st. Yeah.
Exactly.
When I reach an age with a zero, whatever it is, right?
Right. Right.
And you have to really be kind to yourself and not beat
Yeah.
yourself up. You really do. Don't
Yeah.
expect perfection. When they come in and they're all disappointed, I'm like, what? You thought you were God? Come on. Give yourself
Yeah.
a break
No,
here.
no. I mean,
Lorie, this is absolutely wonderful. I've
Thank
enjoyed
you.
every
Yes.
minute.
I
I
have.
try to give people practical solutions instead of, theory, because they need to know how to execute, and they don't have the time to figure it out, which is where I come in. I figured it out. I got a million solutions. You pick the one you think might work.
Right.
And you
Right.
did it. Thank you so much. You gave us so much advice. If people are wanting to find you, do you have social media, a website? Where would they find you if they want to contact you, maybe be a patient or whatnot?
I have a very robust website, LorieEberWellnessCoaching.com. I'm on all social media, spewing videos every day of the week. I got something to say, and I'm coming out with my 11th book. They can buy their book as soon as I get
Wonderful.
proof today and approve it. So I'm on Amazon. I got a bunch of useful tips kind of books. The latest one is about kickstarting your metabolism. So exactly what we've been talking about today is what it's about.
I'm
And how
definitely going to
little
get that one.
you can practically.
I'll be buying that book. I need to kickstart my metabolism again. It's decided to slow down. I need a little
Yeah.
boost.
Me too.
I know, so is mine. It's like, would you please wake up? Come on, come on.
You're like, I'm not
Getting
dead
old.
yet. Come on now. I'm still alive.
Yes, we're still moving here, please.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much for coming on
Thank
and
you.
Thank
sharing
you.
all of your knowledge with us. I definitely learned a lot, and I'm definitely going to be taking it writing. I took a lot of notes, and I'll be putting this, going upstairs and talking to my family and putting this into some good use.
Wonderful. You ladies were just fun as hell, and that's what I like. And we
You,
just talked, we didn't have a script with
Nope.
1,000 questions, just,
We're just chit chatting.
and you genuinely are interested in the topic, and that shows. So thank you
no,
for
I really am. I really
Thank you.
am. Like in our house, we really are on a health kick and trying to get better and trying to lose weight.
It's the thing that matters most, your health. We
Yep,
get busy with all
exactly.
kinds of other stuff, but once we're in the hospital, all we care about is, could you please let me live? I'll give up all this other stuff. It's not
Yeah.
that important, really.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much for coming on. We truly
Very
appreciated it.
welcome. Have a wonderful day, and thank you for having me as your guest.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Hang on just a